whether it's evening or morning or noon. A special welcome to you. I know that we do have people in the audience literally from all four corners of the globe, which is truly fantastic, especially considering it's very hard for us all to get together at the same time at the best of times. And if you're a guest or if you're a brand new Infinii partner or customer and you're watching this training information for the very first time, a special welcome to you as well. And congratulations for your decision to get involved in Infinii. We're certainly excited to have you with us. So we're going to be discussing several things for the next hour, and I'll just quickly walk through that list so you have some sort of sense of what we're going to get into. I'll introduce myself properly because we haven't had an opportunity for that to happen yet. I want to get into the timing of Infinii and why it couldn't be better for you to be embarking on a new project like this. I want to talk a little bit about Infinii advantages. I also want you to help you understand a little bit about your market, who your market is, how best to communicate with your market in regards to Infinii, what really drives growth in a network marketing business, what will drive growth in your network marketing business, how to duplicate for success and exactly what entails or what's entailed in that process, and also, of course, to remind yourself to enjoy the entire process because that's really what it's all about. If you want to grab a pad and a paper to take a few notes, I would encourage you to do so. That said, of course, you'll certainly have an opportunity to review this information at a later date in your back office. So first of all, just a couple of minutes about myself. My background is actually in commercial photography. It's not in business. And I studied at a very young age and became a commercial photographer working with the Professional Association of Canada for a long time, almost a decade. I started when I was basically right out of high school. As soon as I finished technical school, I jumped right into it. And it was something that came really easy to me. I took to it like kind of like a duck to water. But that process led me to a realization. And that realization was some of the loftier goals that I remember setting for myself, even before I hit 20 years old, that didn't involve me, that involved my family and people I cared about. I realized after about 6 years of owning my own business that while I loved what I did, there was no possible way I was going to reach some of the goals that I remember writing down as a young person on a piece of paper. And I remember at the time it causing me a little bit of anxiety. I came to a bit of a crossroads and had to make a decision. And of course, the catalyst for this decision, funny enough, was a friend sharing a network marketing program with me. This was in 1995, so I was still pretty young at that time. My photography had sort of pulled me into magazine work, and I was around marketing and I was around sales devices, and so that early exposure to marketing was something that I found very, very interesting. Anyway, it was still very creative, and so it wasn't long before, after asking some tough questions, going to probably similar hotel meetings to what you've seen in the past, that I remember going into my father's retail business. We grew up as a retail business owning family. And I said, you're going to get a kick out of this. I said to my father, what is network marketing? I think I asked what multi-level marketing was. And he pulled me aside, and there was a little aggression in him. And he said, John, network marketing or multi-level marketing is a business for people who don't have enough money to get into a real business. And now, of course, looking back on that, I can understand his perspective and why he looked and spoke in that way to me when he saw me potentially considering throwing 6 years of an investment of name brand recognition. I was the most expensive photographer in the city I lived in a very short period of time. At that time, I was starting to teach other professionals skills that I had learned through just tireless hours, and I had a huge advantage because my parents had a retail business that was in photo finishing. So what cost others money as far as shooting was concerned, I was able to do for free, and I took full advantage of it and learned very quickly because I was able to just shoot and shoot and shoot. But anyway, this is basically 95 when I decided to get involved anyway. It was going to be a part-time endeavor. I was never intending on shutting my studio down. And 18 months later, I was financially free and didn't have any bills. Was earning more at that point than I thought was possible, certainly more than I had ever written down as a goal. Basically, every couple of months I earned what would be considered a really healthy annual salary. That coming up this April, that will have been 21 years ago. And I still earn a passive 5-figure income every single month from a business program that I walked away from more than a decade ago. And so one of my goals is to help you understand what I did to accomplish that, what principles I put in place, because I was very principle focused and I was very system focused. And so you know, there are some things that are absolutely essential in knowing and doing. Of course, I mean, we have to be completely honest with each other. Creating that kind of success, multiple millions of dollars as a young man, there has to be a degree of luck in anything of that type of nature. But I absolutely did some things to, let's just say, set the table for that luck to share its virtues with me. So I was very product focused at the time. All of my sponsored leaders knew I was very product focused, and they really adopted that kind of an attitude as well. And I want to share with you also why it's so critically important that you have a similar view in making sure that you're building a legacy business and not just a temporary part-time income source. So, you know, one of the things that I'm often getting asked is why I decided to then shift from this freedom that I acquired 20 years ago and take on a corporate responsibility. And the answer is, well, it's actually really quite simple. I remember speaking with Hitesh some time ago before the concept of Infinii as far as a new company existed, and I was very enthralled in his vision. I was really encouraged by where he saw things going technically and what kind of an offering this could bring to the average individual. So, you know, this product focus, I was becoming so centered on this product-focused model that in this case, an electronic product focus, that Hitesh was sharing with me, that I was getting a lot of those feelings that I first got when I was first exposed to the industry, and I really wanted to have an opportunity to be a part of that, to really help craft this vision and this offering that we were going to take out to the world and give other people just like myself an opportunity to really create life-changing opportunities for themselves. So let's get to the timing of Infinii. As far as the project is concerned, I really do believe the timing for this project could not be any better. If you've listened to the radio recently, you've been watching TV at all, or if you participate in any social media, and I'm sure you do, the reality is that we're all pretty conscious of the current state of the world. And regardless of where you're living, where you're tuning in from, you know, the struggles that we're facing in the United States and Canada are not unlike struggles that Europe is facing right now, or South America, or Asia, or Australia. It's happening pretty much everywhere. And as I mentioned before, I grew up with parents that owned a retail business, and I remember the effect that giant drugstores and huge outlet stores were starting to have on their business at a really early stage. When Walmarts were arriving and Costco's were arriving and the super drugstores were arriving with all the services, and I saw the fear that it put into my parents, really shaking a paradigm that was the only one that they knew and the only thing that they had ever done. And they were really taking a risk when they were my age by leaving stable employment and going and spending $10,000 a month 25 years ago at a large enclosed shopping mall in the center of the city and taking those kind of risks, and they were seeing those things being eroded by these giant all-service stores. And what we're seeing now, as far as timing couldn't be better for you and your business, is exactly the same thing happened to the box stores that happened to my parents. And what's driving that change is e-commerce. It's really the most prominent change and massive growth in the retail business sector that is happening anywhere in the world. It's happening right now, and you really are positioned very well to take advantage of this next 4 to 5 years and predicted $3.5 trillion globally. So it really is, it's an opportunity that I think I'm very excited for you to participate in, and I just really wanted you to be conscious of that timing. So one of the things I also wanted to share with you really in this conversation today was I had a phone call with one of our Indonesian leaders regarding Infinii, and this is a young man, and it's someone that I have a deep admiration for. And when I saw how fast that they were starting to build their Indonesian business, I wanted to ask him what the driving factor was that was really creating so much interest with his team, with members there. And he said it was two main reasons. And first of all, it was e-commerce. The concept of e-commerce they absolutely loved. But the second one kind of took me back a little bit. He said that many of the network marketers in Indonesia that he's talking to are really they're tired of trying to sell things. They're tired of soliciting their friends. And that is actually an answer that I was not expecting from him, but I think it's a very telling answer. And this is coming from Indonesia. This is a market where network marketing is, it doesn't have any negative stereotypes or stigmas. So many people do this professionally. So it really made me pause and think a little bit in regards to the scope and scale of the opportunity that's in front of all of us. And what I thought was particularly interesting is how it really is a genuine opportunity in all of that impact, regardless of which market that we're in. As long as we're in part of the developed world, this is something that's on the tips of people's tongues. It's a conversation that's happening every day. So when we talk about the Infinii advantage, I want to get into a few bullets, but before I do, if you've downloaded the new deck, you've seen the slide, we want to blast through this really fast in regards to some of these technologies and how they're integrating themselves into our lives, integrating themselves into your lives, and sometimes without us even being completely conscious of it. Uber, $50 billion market valuation according to the Wall Street Journal. $50 billion, 2009 founded. This one is really interesting to me because we're making this comparison of old and new. Hilton hotel chain, just over about $19.5 billion was the recent valuation. And you could imagine how many pieces of prime real estate Hilton hotel chain would have around the world. Started in 1955, and so over many years they've been amassing this real estate globally. Yet this website opens up that serves a tremendous purpose by connecting travelers with people that have space. In only 2008, owns no real estate and has a market valuation basically $6 billion higher than Hilton. That blows me away to see these types of things happen and how fast things happen in this day and age. So, as the world becomes more connected, one of the things that really seems to scare people is change. But change really is the only constant that we can count on. And so if we really allow ourselves to not be scared and to embrace that instead, there's very, very significant advantages that can come from that. So if we get into the advantages that Infinii has right now, and the advantages that this timing affords, what I'd like to do, I'd like to share a little experiment with you. And this is going to lead us to some of the talking points that are further in the conversation. It's a little bit of an experiment, and I need you to sort of imagine with me as we roll this scenario out. So right now, because of limitations, technological limitations, in fact, there's about 1,000 of us on this call right now. The rest of the multiple thousands of Infinii, enthusiastic Infinii members are going to have to watch this recorded tomorrow. So imagine if all 1,000 of us were going to be involved in a little experiment. And I'd like you to imagine that we're all in the same place. It could be in almost any developed city in almost any country. Let's just say, because of proximity to me, we're in Vancouver. So we're downtown Vancouver. There's 1,000 of us. We all have matching ball caps on, and we all have a little clipboard in our hands. And we're all going to stop 20 people on the street over the next, let's say, hour or hour and a half. And we're just going to ask them 2 questions. So when someone's walking by, we'll say, listen, we're just running a small poll. Can you give us 5 minutes, please, to answer 2 questions? So here are the questions. Question number 1, have you or anyone you know been involved in network marketing before? And question number 2 is, was that experience a good experience? Was it a bad experience? or was it indifference? Was it a neutral experience? So we do that, and then we compile all of our results. We've got a pretty decent polling sample for an hour and a half's worth of work. We've got 20,000 people that we talked to. So what I want to ask you now, and I'm just going to open up chats and see if you can fire answers to me. Okay. So what I'd like to ask you right now is, were the results skewed in any one particular direction? We have 20,000 responses to the question, were you or anyone you know involved in network marketing, or have been, or currently? And what I'd like to know is the answer to the second question. Do you believe that there would be a majority of responses in one of the three categories? Category A, it was a great experience for me, and still is. Category B, it was not a great experience for me. And category C, I was somewhat neutral on it. Now, I'll tell you, I've asked this question probably in 500 different presentations in multiple countries on 3 different continents. And when we compile data, when we look at the answers to this question, in fact, I asked it again for the very first time in about 3 or 4 years just last night, and the answer that I got from the individual I asked fit right into the statistics I'm going to share with you right now. We compile the data. And I've asked, believe it or not, I've asked this in front of groups of network marketers in one space, upwards of 7,000 and 8,000 people. So it really doesn't matter who you ask. If you ask it right, you're getting an honest response. And that response is absolutely there is a skew to the data, and overwhelmingly people say that they had a negative experience. And if we were compiling it, you're going to find within about 10% spread, between 80 and 90% of your poll is saying they had a somewhat neutral to negative or very negative experience. Now, why is this important to you? Because it's absolutely critical information. And this is something that I gleaned probably 12 months into my network marketing build. And it was a new experience for me to reach out to friends and have them put me off. That was something that I was completely alien to me. I was not used to it. I was trying to figure out what I was doing that was not creating a result that I was expecting. And so a lot of this deductive thought process came from that personal experience that I had. And so it's critically important that when you're moving forward now, what I want to share with you for the next 30 minutes or so are some rock-solid strategies that you can implement very simply into your day-to-day actions as you start to take advantage of this timing and this Infinii opportunity to really create something special for yourself and for your family. So what's very important is that we understand our market. And sometimes before we can understand our market, we need to be conscious of who our market is. And I'm sure that you're all aware that your market for you would be your friends, your family, and your associates. And otherwise it would be a cold market. It was people you didn't know. So now that you know, these people that we're polling on the streets are no different than your circle of influence. So that means 8.5 people out of 10 have somewhat a tainted perception of what it is that we're doing. So 85% of our market are not interested in what we're selling. And here's the horrible thing. They're not interested in what we're selling before we even open our mouth. Now, there's a reason for that. And by the way, it's not that they're not interested. It's that they think they're not interested, which is the same thing for us because it's them that are ultimately making the decisions one way or another. So whether they're thinking something that's factual or completely off base, it doesn't matter. It still affects our universe exactly the same way. So the reason they're not interested is because they're not interested in selling. And they think that that's what you're doing. And I should actually be a little more accurate than this. 85% of people are not interested in selling. There's a large group in there that are also scared of selling. So the idea of selling things to other people really makes them feel uncomfortable. So it's a combination of complete disinterest or varying degrees of disinterest or an unsettling feeling. And that's why the reason I wanted to bring this up is this was part of the response that I was getting from this Indonesian leader. And I would expect this response from an American leader or Canadian leader or maybe a German leader or in other parts of sort of the Western world. I really wasn't expecting it there. I would certainly expect this response from an Australian leader. And hi to all my Australian friends and Infinii team from Australia. So I want to share with you just a very, very simple strategy for getting completely on top of this and taking advantage of the circumstances so that they are to your benefit and they're not a liability or challenge for you. And what I want to do also is I want to tell you what I would do if I was going to start building an Infinii business myself right now. So you can see how I would take some of the strategies that I used once to create a 7-figure income and replicate that within this new environment. And believe me, this, from my professional opinion, and all the things that I've seen over 21 years in this industry, this is the easiest thing to share that I've ever been exposed to. And I want you to notice the language that I just used there. I said share. I didn't say sell. So one of the advantages, we talked about trends just a moment ago, listening to the radio, what causes a trend. I mean, the reality is that anytime anyone's talking or a group of people are talking about a particular thing or things, well, that creates a trend. People are talking about it. And then ultimately people are taking action if those talking points are motivating. And there's a big difference between selling and sharing. And I'm going to really try to highlight that difference for you in the next few minutes. So what I want to do is I want to share a really simple formula with you. This is a formula also during that first year where I was really struggling, and my only worldly experience was photography, which came very, very easy to me, and I played the drums, and that came really easy as well. And now I get involved in this network marketing industry that my dad thought was ridiculous, and I'm really struggling. And so I was being very introspective during this process as to what I could be doing wrong when I see other individuals making things seem so easy. And of course, the people I'm looking to are leaders, successful leaders. I wasn't looking to people like myself that were also struggling, which there was obviously far more of us than there were them. So this formula is, like I said, it's a very, very simple formula, but it's also very effective because it puts a clear concept into your head in regards to how you need to be approaching things. Now, S plus D equals R is the formula. S represents system. If you like the formula, write it down and put it up next to your computer, the station, the area where you work. I'm going to share something with you that you may have never heard before. D represents duplication. Obviously, that's no surprise to anyone, and I'm sure you all know what R means. It means results. Now, this is something that I realized if I focused on learning a simple system, and the easier the system, the better, because a simple system is easier to teach than a complicated system. Kind of common sense, but something that is so commonsensical that we often kind of look past. Duplication, so going from a learning model, so a doing model, so important. So many people that get involved in network marketing try to skip over the doing model and go straight to the selling or the teaching or the sharing model because they're uncomfortable doing themselves. And the reality is you're never going to create the results that you're looking for if you can't do first and then teach second. And then, of course, that's still going to give you the results you're looking for. So this was something that, again, although it's very simple, and I know it's simple, this really resonated with me, and I became, I'm not going to say obsessive because that's not my personality type, but I became very focused on this first step, this learning step, because what happened was I started to sound like I knew what I was talking about. And I did because I was learning, I was studying. And what I was studying, remember I told you before, the reason that I've been able to still collect an income after literally, no exaggeration, more than a decade completely absent from project and still earn five figures a month every month, including this month, was because I had a very product-focused business. And that was what I taught to others. And it really instilled a sense of community and belonging, and people didn't want to leave. It wasn't a transient team. It wasn't a transient business. And so that's what I'm going to help you accomplish, but it's going to be many times easier now because we're sharing something that's trending, and that's e-commerce. And we're sharing something that's only just beginning to trend in a massive way like many people in commerce have never seen before. So the next thing that I would like to do to help roll this out for you is I want to share a model of duplication for you. But before I do, I said what I was going to do was give you a very simple format. If I was going to start building an Infinii business myself right now, what would I do? And so here's a basic formula. Now again, you can listen to this a second time, or you can start taking some notes if you like. And anything as far as formulas to build, you're always going to get simple formulas from me. They're not going to be lengthy, and they're certainly not going to be complicated, but they're going to be simple formulas that you have to do. Do first, teach second. Okay? So here it is. I would grab a pen, I would grab a piece of paper, or I would open my computer, and I would make a list. And if you've been involved in network marketing, you've certainly heard that before. Now, I would make the list as long as I could, but I would not allow myself to feel guilty if there was only 5, 10, 15, 20 names on that list. I would just say to myself, okay, that's all I can do for now, but this is going to be a living list. And as more people pop into my head, I'm going to add them to the list. Because often what will happen is fear is going to be dictating how and what you do right now. And so instead of fighting that or beating yourself up over it, just flow with it and say, oh, no problem at all. I'll just come back and I'll add more. And as you start to learn and then as you start to do, much of that fear will dissipate, because the vast majority of the fearful things that are going in your head aren't because of past failures. They're because of things that you don't know. So you're fearing uncertainty. You're fearing possible scenarios that may never happen to you. And if you use this strategy, I guarantee you a lot of the fearful scenarios that you're fearing are not going to happen to you. This is very straightforward stuff. So first of all, I would compile a list. The second thing that I would do is I would pick up my phone and I would call that list. What I would not do is send emails to people. Because emails are, first of all, there's no physical contact on a phone call either, but there is definitely an emotional, there's a connection, a person-to-person connection that doesn't exist. Email is very easy to ignore. I would not send a text message. I would make a phone call. And on that phone call, I would phone my buddy. In this case, let's say I'm phoning Kevin Hokuwana, and I want to tell Kevin a little bit about Infinii. So I'm going to give Kevin a phone call, and I say, hey, Kevin, how are things going? I hope all is well. A little bit of small talk, catching up. And I would come straight to the point, and I would always ask for what I want. Never be afraid to ask for what you want. And just a footnote before we go into this short script, if you are somebody that is constantly fearful of asking for what you want, what you need to do is you need to be focused on that. There's a book called The E-Myth. Sorry, not The E-Myth. That's not the right book. That's a fantastic book. That was more retail. The book is called The Aladdin Factor, and it was written by the Chicken Soup for the Soul fellas. And really, they're just dispelling the myth that people that ask for what they want are overbearing or obnoxious or are pushy or are a burden. And none of those things have to be true. Obnoxious people absolutely do ask for what they want, but you don't have to be an obnoxious person, and you can still ask for what you want. It's really just in how you ask for what you want. Communicating clearly is going to be very important to give your simple system the space that it needs to grow and be successful. If we're going to use a simple model where we're not beating people, it's going to have to be very clear, so people understand why you're ringing and understand what you're asking for. So here it is. I phone Kevin up, a little small talk. Listen, Kevin, I need a favor for about 5 minutes. Is now a good time, or should I connect with you later? So I'm already assuming that the answer is yes, because the answer is yes. I'm phoning a friend and asking for 5 minutes. It's something I've probably done 100 times before. Kevin's going to say, well, what do you need? And I'm going to ask him if now is a good time. He said, sure, yeah, now's a good time. I want him to positively or affirmatively respond, yes, now's a good time. Okay, listen, I'm going to send you a link. You can do this on your phone. You can send an email. You can read out your infinii.com/URL, however you want to do this. I'm going to send you a link. I just need you to watch something. It's a 3-minute video. I'm going to call you right back afterwards. I'm going to call you in about 5 minutes, and I want to collect your thoughts on this 3-minute video. Now, If he said to me, at this point, I don't have 5 minutes to watch a video right now, send it to me and I'll watch it later. I would actually say to him, I'm not going to send this to you now because I want to call you right after you finish watching it. That's going to help me. So I'll reconnect with you later. If you have 5 minutes to watch it then, I will send you the information then. What it does in a very basic way, it lays the foundation for the expectation you're looking for, and it keeps you in control of the scenario. You're in control of the situation, not the person that you called 30 seconds ago. Now you've just given control away of your call to. Okay, so if he sprung this on me at the last minute, listen, I don't have 5 minutes right now, send me the URL, I'll get to it later. Absolutely not. I'm not going to send that to you right now because it's important to me. I talk to you right afterwards. I'll reconnect with you later. If you've got 5 minutes then, I'll send it to you then. Very simple. Okay? And then I phone back in 5 minutes after he's watched, or she has watched, in this case a he, has watched this video, and I'm simply going to ask, was there anything in there that caught your eye? Was there any part of that that was kind of interesting to you? So again, I'm not going to try, I don't want to come across with language that feels like I'm trying to corner this person. It's very non-threatening. Was there anything at all there that caught your eye? Yeah, actually there was a couple things that caught my eye. And that could be one of his responses. Another response could be, no, I'm completely allergic to technology and extra cash drives me crazy. And the best part is this. With this system, it doesn't matter what Kevin says. All I was looking to do and what I managed to accomplish, and this is very hard for network marketers to do, in about 10 minutes worth of work, my first call, giving him the information, having him, and if you haven't figured it out now, we're looking to have him watch that 2.5 minute Infinii overview, the 2.5 minute video, and then I'm looking for feedback. So in what amounted to be maybe 10 minutes worth of work, I've gotten a yes or I've gotten a no. And I honestly do not care which one it is. The most important thing is I got a yes or I got a no in 10 minutes. Some network marketers, and that some, I say some, I mean most, network marketers take a week sometimes to get a yes or a no. And the amount of time that they're investing in getting that yes or no, by the way, the reason they take so long is because they're scared to ask for what they want because they don't want a negative response. And so they put off and they put off and they put off. And what they do instead is they're thinking to themselves, if I just get them enough information, they will sell themselves. It's completely the wrong thought process and you're wasting your time. And you absolutely do not need to do that, especially with a trending product and a trending subject like Infinii has. You absolutely do not have to do that. You're going to have positive responses so often, it's going to surprise you. So get that yes, get that no very quickly. Why? Because I've got a whole list, even if my list was only 20 people. Because that's all I allowed myself to write down in the first go-round. Believe me, as you start getting positive responses to this video, your brain is going to let go of some fear, and you're going to look at your list, and you're going to add another 60 names. And that's going to be the process for you, and it's going to be a very simple process. So what I want to do is I want to get into a very simple formula for you. I said that I would show you what I would do if I was building my business. And I know this seems simple, but I would do this, and I would build another $1 million business. I guarantee it. And I would do it just with this one strategy. I wouldn't have 15 different strategies for 15 different scenarios. One's an email scenario. The second is a pop-by for a visit scenario. The third is sending a website. I wouldn't have that. I would do one thing and one thing only. And it's not because all activities cannot be successful, because they can. I mean, it was Newton's third law. Every action has, no, it wasn't the third law, it was the second law. Sorry, I'm not a Newton expert, but I remember resonating with some of that reading that I had done many years ago in regards to an action or a reaction. And so almost anything that you do is going to create varying degrees of success. I remember when I started focusing on this, I asked myself, what was going to give me the highest percentage of positive response most of the time? And I just focused on that one activity. And remember, it's because a simple system is easier to teach than a complicated system. And I knew that it was through leverage, through teaching others. What creates leverage in a business? Teaching. I think I've mentioned this to you. I hope I did. One of the biggest misconceptions about network marketing by so many people, and some of those people are leaders. Some of those are very successful individuals. Network marketing is not a sales industry. Network marketing is a teaching industry. Teaching drives growth. There's nothing wrong with sales. Sales creates retail profits. Retail profits are not going to retire you. They're going to throw a few dollars in your pocket. You could accomplish the same thing by staying an extra few hours at work or getting a second job on weekends at Subway. Retail sales are not your ultimate goal. Driving leverage, duplication into a business that's going to help completely free your life, that's your goal. And that happens from teaching, not from selling. Now that should be good news to most of you because you feel just as uncomfortable with selling as the people you're talking to, 85% of the time, statistically. So, what drives growth? Let's get right into it. The first I wanted to share the formula with you. The next thing I'm going to do now is I want to share with you a very simple model that's based on Prime memberships. Now, I'm not telling everyone to join and sign people with Prime memberships. What I'm telling you, in fact, if you listen to Hitesh, the sweet spot, and Ken says this as well, the sweet spot Infinii with all the features and benefits and the types of things that you're going to use in your e-commerce business very quickly sits at Surge, but I wanted to create a model that you could understand where you could reach your director bonus, your $20,000 director bonus, just by focusing on Prime memberships so that I didn't have to hear from anyone that I was leaving certain groups behind. Okay? So what I want to do is show you how this works, and it's really quite straightforward. It starts first of all, you remember Pam from our detailed comp plan, and Sue and Mark. So, their names are right there. So step number one, sorry, I've just got to minimize this go-to information on my screen. All right. Now you're going to hear very much or see a repetition of some of the things I've been saying before. Remember, this is doing first, teaching second. Do first, teach second. Why? Because if you cannot push through things that are holding you back, if you can't push through the anxiety of picking up a phone call, how can you teach someone else to do it? You can't empathize with them, okay? And believe it or not, it's not nearly as scary as you may be thinking. So do first, teach second. All right, step number one, we want to become beginner bonus qualified, dual team qualified, that is. We want to sponsor someone on the left side of our business, someone on the right side of our business. And I've got a variety of tools that you could use there. As I just shared with you in my formula, though, what I would be doing is I would be using Infinii.com 2.5-minute video. That's it. That's my formula. Okay. For those of you who are listening that understand English, but you're building in a Russian market or Southeast Asian market, or you're building in a European market or South American market, and I know there's many of you on the call that are, rest assured, very quickly, we are also spending, investing the time and investing the resources, I should say, to make sure that these videos, video number 2 is in the works now for you, these really higher-end videos are being dubbed in the language you want to build in. So we're not just going to throw subtitles on there for you. We're going to make sure the video has its full impact to all of your friends, whether they be Spanish or Russian or German or Australian, Indonesian, Hong Kong, Cantonese, whatever the case may be, we're going to make sure that you're covered in that regard so that this strategy works for you. Okay, so what we're going to focus on is teaching what we do. Teach step number one, first by doing step number one, and that is someone on the left side of my business, someone on the right side of my business. It goes without saying, both of them joined at a Prime membership. Okay? Step number 2, I'm going to make sure, by the way, I've broken these down into weekly increments because what I'm asking you to do is very, very minimal. Even if you were only setting aside 1 hour to 2 hours per week to work on your business, you would easily be able to manage what's required to make a few phone calls, follow up after a 5-minute video view, and add 2 people to your business. You're going to be amazed at how fast you find 2 people for this. So what you're going to do in week number 2 is dedicate. I know this drawing looks very simple. You really need to focus on the doing. You're going to dedicate 100% of your energy. If you've only got a couple hours a week, the following week, 100% of that time is dedicated only to helping Sue add 2 people to her business and helping Mark add 2 people to his business. And that does not mean you phoning the rest of your list and dropping people into their business for them. It absolutely does not mean that. They are not going to learn unless they do, just like you're learning by doing, okay? Then the third week, what we're going to do, and this is really the toughest week because a lot of this is out of your hands, you are going to watch them take control with their 2 people, your third week, and make sure they duplicate the same way that you made sure that your first 2 members of your business duplicated. And that's it. And we call this driving growth into your business. We call it driving because you're in control. You're behind the wheel. You're dictating where your business goes because of your actions and the actions you're teaching everyone else. Very simple, but very effective. So what's going to, if you did nothing else, now I know this is going to surprise you, if you did nothing else but monitor and support the growth of your business in this fashion, week by week by week by week, everyone's simply bringing a couple friends into their business, you'd reach director in less than 90 days on Prime memberships. And I'm going to share a little bit of the math. I'm not going to share all the math with you because what I want you to do, I want you to grab a piece of paper when you've got a little bit of downtime, and I want you to work the math out for yourself. So 50 BV on my left, 50 BV on my right. Week 2, Mark sponsors 2 people. 100 BV on my left, 100 BV on my right. Week 3. And I really want you to learn this rewards plan so that when it finally hits you that this is the project that is going to change your life and it's going to create freedom for you like you maybe never thought possible, you're going to understand the mathematics because you've done it. And you say, I need to hit director of this because I need that bonus. And I need to hit, my ambassador rank, my next benchmark, the ambassador family ranks in this period of time, and you understand the math and exactly how to do that. Now, you do not have to limit yourself to 2 personal sponsorships. What you do need is to make sure you do not sponsor a 3rd or a 4th person until you see duplication happening in your business. That's your number 1 objective. Why? Remember, it's teaching that drives the leverage, that drives the duplication. And let me think about my own formula again. It's ultimately the leverage that creates the growth that you're looking for, and it's teaching that drives that leverage. And so its duplication is absolutely critical for you to build your business. So if we take a look at month number 1, now, if you don't completely understand the beginner bonus, make sure you go to that detailed doc and really spend some time reading that bonus because, believe it or not, this very simple 2 creates 4 creates 8 model in your first month actually paid you $290 and you only spent $49.95 plus $9.95 partner fee to get involved. So you have done incredibly well your first month as far as a business decision, getting involved and getting your money back. You've done that many, many times over in your first 1 month, adding 2 people to your business and teaching them to do the same. Now, if you can find an extra 100 business volume, maybe one of those people just decides to get involved in Surge instead of Prime, that would actually put you at a business volume total of 1,600 instead of 1,500, and that unlocks another level of beginner bonus for you. And you would actually spend $50, $49.95 plus $9.95 to start your business, and you earn almost 10 times that in your first month. Now, that's a business success by any standard that I've ever read. In your second month, as that duplication continues, as you continue to drive it, and of course, as you continue to hit the phones. Now, this is not factoring anybody doing more than just the bare minimum, just adding a couple people to your business. Between your dual team and your beginner bonus earnings, you're over $2,000 in your second month, $2,000 US. That's very significant if you're only spending a couple hours a week on this. Okay? Third month, by the way, you've already accrued by the end of 8 weeks 25,000 BV, over 25,000 BV. Okay? Now the question, are you going to hit 30,000 in month 3? Well, of course you are. Regardless of what happens in month 3, you're going to hit your director bonus. And that's because you focused on doing first, teaching second, driving growth into your team. You taught them a very simple model that anybody, no matter how fearful or how new to network marketing or home business ownership, can be successful at. So congratulations to you, because you're going to hit your director bonus within 90 days, and you're going to not only earn the director bonus, which is $10,000, but you're going to earn an additional $10,000 because of that. Of course, in month 3, you're going to earn $2,500 in your dual team. You're also going to earn the balance of your beginner bonus. And as you know, beginner bonus is only for beginners, and you're capped at $2,000 US, which is an amazing beginner bonus for beginners. So you'll get the balance of that in your 3rd month, because after that you're director and you're no longer eligible for beginner bonus. And you shouldn't be, because you just got a $20,000 bonus for your director rank. So congratulations. I'm really excited at the prospects of many of you listening to this a couple of times, writing some notes to yourself, starting to use these materials. I just want to say before I sign off, because I think our time is pretty much done, you know, the process, when I was going through building my own business, I didn't know that I was going to make millions of dollars, and I didn't know to what degree that experience was going to change my life. And in fact, I remember listening to an interview with Dustin Hoffman just recently. He repeated something that I believe very firmly, and he said, success doesn't teach us lessons. Success doesn't solve problems for us. It's our failures. It's our challenges that are our learning opportunities. And so I was really focused, of course, on the challenges for the challenge's sake when I was caught up in the process, and I really didn't have as much of an opportunity to enjoy the ride. It was much more stress and anxiety as I was learning this stuff for the first time. And I wanted to tell you this because you are at such a strategic advantage over where I was in that project. And I want you to understand that if you just do the very simple things that I've laid out for you, you absolutely can reach any and all of the goals that you've set for yourself as well. You know, timing is so critical in business, and aligning ourselves with trends is such a significant advantage. I'm not saying a business can't be successful if you're fighting a trend, but it's very, very difficult to launch a successful business if it runs in contradiction to trends of the marketplace, which is the trends of the people, which is who you're asking to get involved in your business. And this is perfectly aligned. And we are teaching individuals, compensation plan or rewards plan, rewards plan aside, we're creating skill sets for people that they can keep for a lifetime and completely free themselves financially. There's a lot of people in this world right now, regardless of where you live, that are feeling a lot of stress. I think not only is it our duty to free ourselves financially and improve our lives, it's our duty to help those around us at least have the same opportunity that we've been so fortunate to find at such an early stage of the game. And I know that some of you might be laughing and wishing you didn't find it at such an early stage of the game, but listen, this is such an advantage, being an early adopter, being involved in Infinii during a pre-launch period of time. You're going to look back on this period right now, and you're going to look back on it with fondness and be so grateful that you are where you are right now. So I would encourage you to take full advantage of that and make sure that you set expectations for your young team. This is one thing I meant to share with you, and it slipped my mind when we were talking about numbers. Remember I told you I built a very product-focused business. I would do exactly the same thing if I was building a team here. It would be a very product-focused business, and it would be e-commerce, Prime, Surge, and Excel focused business, because I'm setting my team's expectations so that they're going to be investing the next 6 to 12 months learning a set of skills and teaching a set of skills and profiting incredibly along the way and changing the course of their lives. And so they're not going to be antsy after 20 days or 30 days or 40 days. And I'm not going to worry about my team eroding, because right in the beginning an expectation was set that this is a one-year process, and we're going to go through this process together, and we're going to change our lives together. So with that, I want to thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope that something from this conversation, or preferably many things, have been valuable to you, and I certainly look forward to having an opportunity to connect with you again in the future. Thanks very much.